Hi everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Barbecue Basics with Bruchette Barbecue. Today I'm going to be talking about the different types of fuel that I use, why I use them, and a little bit about fire management. So we'll start with briquettes. Now this is a briquette, a specific brand of briquette called Heat Beads. Now they're one of my favourites as they do have a little bit of scientific enhancement within them, which I'll explain later. But the differences with a general charcoal briquette is that they are made from a lot of wood refuse, compacted sawdust, wood shavings, etc. And then usually they are bound somewhat unnaturally with a certain amount of petroleum. This is for all of them, but a petroleum binding agent. So the important thing is with that, you've got to really make sure that that is fully burned off, especially on the outside anyway, before you start to cook on it. So the differences with these is they will burn a lot longer, okay? So with these, I tend to use briquettes to sort of start my long, low and slow cooks. Not everyone's a fan of that, but I find it more efficient and it works for me. These, as I say, are heat beads. So they've got an additive within them that helps them burn longer. I can get 6 hours-ish, 5 to 6 hours out of a good burner heat bead. So I really enjoy using them, as I find they are, well, they're the briquette that gets me the best results. And to be honest, that's all I'm really bothered about. Next, we've got the lumpwood charcoal. Now this is technically quite a special one. This is from a relatively new business called Whittle & Flame. Now Whittle & Flame have got a point of difference, as they don't burn their charcoal, they distill it. And I've got to say, it smells, straight out of the bag, it smells great. So, with lumpwood charcoal, it is exactly as it states in the title, so no prizes for guessing, lumps of whole wood, okay? So this is, I believe, hand cut with Whittle & Flame as well. It's felled in local forests, distilled and made into charcoal, and you can actually see it retains the characteristic of the actual tree. In this piece, for example, you can still see the grain from the inner rings of the wood, which is just so pretty. And then on this one, I think, yeah, you can really, I'll try and get a close-up for you shortly, a really clear sort of cross section of those rings from this piece of wood. So this is made from Cornbury ash, and the downside, I would say, even though it burns, it catches quick, it burns quickly. Catching quick is a good thing, burning quick for some, not necessarily. So you'd have to top up the fuel quite a lot in a low and slow sort of longer cook. A more direct cook, however, when it's just you and some of your family members, I think it's probably enough, maybe a couple of handfuls of this, and you're going to get a decent cook out of it. So I wouldn't say it's a major concern, but the difference between the briquette and the lumpwood is usually, to be honest, just measured in the length of time that you get to cook from it. This is a breed of tree called an ash tree, and it's from Oxfordshire, and being able to trace where we get our food is really important. So being able to do that with our charcoal is really interesting as well. Like, for example, I wouldn't know what went into that and where it came from. That is traceable and it's renewable, which is really interesting. So the downside to lumpwood charcoal is that it doesn't burn for quite as long as the briquette. So out of good charcoal like this, realistically you're looking at about an hour. It'll burn hot, it'll burn fast very early on, but it will die down and get cooler quite quickly as well. So in terms of putting it in a starter chimney, this will go up really quickly. But the other thing to remember is don't lose time on lumpwood. By waiting for all of these to go white, you're doing the right thing. For waiting for those to go all white, you're losing quite a lot of cooking time. As soon as the bottom coals in a big chimney starter are lit, crack on, get cooking. The other thing I'd suggest is to put half lit coals onto a small bed of unlit coals. Then it will burn top down and you'll get a little bit more of a longer cook time out of that charcoal. So the interesting thing about this charcoal is that it's distilled rather than burned. So I believe that's just to be more eco-friendly. And to be fair, It smells fantastic. Right out the bag, this smells like almost edible, to be honest. It's the kind of finish and kind of smell that we want on our food, and that gives me great confidence in the fact that we are putting the right thing in our fire. So shout out to Whittle and Flame. It's good quality charcoal. Just remember, lump wood won't burn for as long as the briquette, so if you think you're going to get the same amount of time out of it, you're just not. But it's very fit for its own purpose. So last but definitely not least is going to be actual whole chunks of kiln drying wood. Now this is an apple wood, and it's my favourite wood to smoke with. You can see there, you can genuinely see the sort of characteristic from the tree trunk that it's been cut from. Each bit of wood is going to be a different shape. There's not going to be a lot of continuity in the boxes that you buy a lot of the time, so you can use smaller pieces for smaller cooks. Maybe you're putting it in a kettle barbecue, or you can put these larger pieces, which I would use a couple of these on my fire bed for my Weber. So differences with these are prepared to burn almost smokeless, so you're not going to get a smoky flavour just by using charcoal. This, however, you absolutely will. So it doesn't really smell of anything. There's no real, apart from just being a bit woody, but this has been kiln dried, so all of the moisture, or at least 99% of the moisture, has been taken out of that wood. Okay, so it's going to smoke, it's going to catch quickly, and it's going to add that smoky sort of atmosphere, if you will, to your smoker, which creates our smoked food. So that smoke ring is going to be that nitric acid penetrating the food, and that all comes from the wood. Lastly, I just want to really quickly talk you through these little beauties. So this is from, specifically, this is the Lecto Wood Fuels firelighter. Now these are eco-friendly firelighters, so I do not use the white chemically binded lighter fluid ice cubes. I don't like them. These catch quick, burn evenly, and they are the best way to start your fire. They are simply made just with wood shavings and essentially carpentry refuse. Just give them a little twist before you start, just loosen it up a little bit, start them, bang. Brilliant start to your fire, and the most consistent way to start your smoking, barbecuing, whatever you're doing. That is the best way to start your fire, in my opinion.